Happy Victory Monday. You know, it was just 7 short days ago that we hopped on here a few days after a brutal Thursday night loss to the LA Chargers. And I have never seen our chat and this fan base as doom and gloom as they were that day. And what did we do right away? We preached patience, told everybody just to cool the jets, calm down. I mean, things were hot. There were people mad about Kevin O'Connell leaving Carson Wentz in the game. There was people mad about the play calling. There's people upset with the defense. Everything. Every little thing you could think about, people were fired up about, and rightfully so. I totally understood that. But, I mean, we just felt like it was a little bit too early to officially hit that panic button in the way that some fans did. And now, 7 days later, we're sitting here feeling pretty damn good about what we saw yesterday against the Detroit Lions. Vikings, after that big win, are right back into the thick of things in the NFC North race and in the NFC. One win outside of first place. The NFC North, again, is proving to be incredibly competitive. So, look, we get it. There was a lot of bad things going on a couple weeks leading up to this, but what we saw yesterday from the coaching staff, quarterback on down, which we'll talk about a lot in depth here. Right. I mean, you come out of that game feeling pretty damn good about what we ended up seeing and where this team stands going forward. Again, yes, caveat, big alert sign. One game, we understand that, but we saw a lot of really good things in a road game in the division in Detroit in a hostile environment. A place where Kevin O'Connell has only won. Has he won there in his career? I don't even think he has. I think he won one game against the Lions. I don't know if he's ever won in Detroit. Home. So big win when this team needed it the most, and a lot of it led by your young quarterback, J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And then just kind of hitting back on what you mentioned before, and that's patience. It's been crazy to me that it's just like we were 3-4 going into that. I get in our guy Smokey said that the Vikings needed to win this game, which I didn't like totally agree as far as like we needed to absolutely or the season was over type of thing. But at the end of the day, the Vikings did win that one, and that's a big deal. But prior to that, that's why the patience thing, 3-4, like you were kind of saying, like a lot of people this might as well have been and the season might as well already been over. Just everybody was ready. Not everybody, a lot of people weren't, but everybody, as far as the specific people I'm talking about, and everybody knows who they are definitely has heard from them. We're just ready to throw this season away and just act like it's all over. It's just one of those seasons, It's just, but you know, to me and you, it's like you're 3-4. You're getting JJ McCarthy back, which obviously not everybody knew if he was going to do good or not. But then not just that, but Andrew Van Ginkel, you're almost your full offensive line. Like you're healthy. It was like this was the most healthy game we were the entire season so far. And hopefully it only gets healthier. And so it was just like crazy to me to say that you're 3-4 and that this season's all the way over. And then just to even go any more, or dig into even more is just everybody who kind of threw out JJ McCarthy after his second game, especially that you saw what he did at the end of the Chicago game. To me, I'm like, yeah, you can say he's played one good quarter or whatever, but I'm like, you can't watch that and be like, oh, this kid has no chance of success in the NFL. So the amount of Viking fans that writ JJ McCarthy off after 2 games was crazy to me. And it was like a wild ride where, you know, Carson Wentz is in here and we have to say every single week that you have to be patient with JJ McCarthy. There's no way the coaching staff and the soft benching, and they're going to it'd be terrible leadership by Kevin O'Connell to bring JJ McCarthy in here, him get hurt after two games, and then to not let him come back for the rest of the season. That wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't know what you have in him. You wouldn't know how what you have, or if he's bad or good. And of course, you might hurt his confidence. All those little things. So all that was crazy. Yeah. And all of those things were to be said that JJ McCarthy did come back and kind of proved, at least so far, it's one game, but I mean that one game showed a lot to me because. All right, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I was saying, and we'll get into them pretty in depth here in the next segment. Yeah. But 2 things: one, like you said, patience, and number 2, you guys got to listen to us more. We were just telling you guys all last week, just like deep breaths, everything was going to be fine. Look where we're at now. I mean, it's crazy how how a fan base's entire perspective on a season can change in 10 days. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
But I think before getting into
happens all
JJ
the
McCarthy in depth, because there was a lot to talk about as it comes down to this performance, and obviously we'll get into some of these other guys later on the studs and duds segment. But one thing I do need to call out is coaching this game. Kevin O'Connell took a lot of heat after last game. I thought he had a very good game plan for JJ McCarthy, leaned into the run early and often, and gave McCarthy some easy throws, and then also took the training wheels off and allowed McCarthy to just go play football. And Brian Flores, I gave him a lot of flack last week for how his defense has been this year. But I think I saw, who was it? Was it Darren? Was it Darren that said earlier? Yeah, best defensive performance all year long, and not even close. Again, going up against this caliber of opponent on the road in that type of environment, to play defense the way you did and hold those two running backs to basically nothing was absolutely huge. Another thing I'm noticing here, we have 5 people in here on YouTube. No likes. Hit that like button. It's free.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Get some likes. Get some likes.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, just
before
we get really in depth into JJ McCarthy here, I did want to give a shout out to the coaching staff and think great game planning on both sides of the football, and we saw it all game long.
Yeah, dude. And obviously, we're even going to dive into that a little bit more when we get into the studs and duds, but just an overall great game. Obviously, you go to Detroit and you win this one. It was what the Lions were 9.5-point favorites here in Detroit, and the Vikings go and win. So I got a question for you. And what's up, Big Redland? So I have a question for you because
George.
There was a guy that is obviously definitely created some scrutiny for us this year. A couple guys, 3 guys: Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, but one in particular is looking off the charts this year, and he showed it again last night, right? Yeah, Sunday Night Football. Sam Darnold, 4 touchdowns early. He's looking really good. I'm happy for him. But answer me one question: what team last year could he just not beat?
The Detroit Lions. And Kevin O'Connell mentioned it in his postgame locker room. Like, we had this exact scenario last year: get a first down, win the game, and we didn't get it done. This year, get a first down, win the game. JJ McCarthy. And that's another thing too. Like, people, he doesn't trust JJ McCarthy. Oh, soft benching. This wasn't even a rollout play. We were talking about that in our post game on Bleacher. Like, they could have easily rolled him out if it wasn't there. Just take a knee, punt the ball, play defense. But he had a standard drop back pass with Jefferson said with a check. Obviously, they saw they got man coverage on Naylor and knew they had to play there. But like, standard straight drop back and let JJ McCarthy go win the game. They don't do that to a quarterback that they don't trust, and they soft benched at some point this year. Like, the overreaction to all the JJ McCarthy stuff earlier on this year was just it was freaking.
It just wasn't even fair, because I didn't know JJ McCarthy was going to come in and do what he did against the Detroit Lions. Like, he could have still been bad, but that wasn't the point. Yeah, like, the point was it's like, you're just not even letting him get a chance, and this is he's just proved why you don't just like give up on a guy after 2 games, which is crazy to even have to say out loud. But still.
And I think we can kind of go more in depth on him now. Like, look, was it a perfect performance by any means? No, he missed throws mainly, and that's the big thing. He mentioned himself right after the game. He said, "Yeah, I'm happy we won, but I'm not super proud of my performance. I missed throws," and he pointed to 3 or 4 throws that he missed. And I think something that he did bring up is his rollouts. His rollouts were the issue. Like, he'd roll out. He said, "I got a little bit too amped up, threw high. Got to get those down a little bit." He's like, "I just missed some throws," and that is exactly it. Like, he was inaccurate at times. He had Naylor wide open and, ended up throwing the interception, which, again, the refs are out for us this year. I have a feeling, because he has calls there. But so was it a perfect performance by any means? No. But when they needed him to step up, he did. And he made the throws when he had to. And he threw some absolute dimes out there. Plus, 2 to his left. He can't throw to his left, I heard, yet he threw 2 beautiful ones out to his left side. So, look, again, not perfect by any means, but from what you wanted to see from a guy coming off 5 weeks of not playing football after 1 quarter of good ball in 2 games. Yeah. You if you're telling me you're not and again, I know some of the people are gonna be like, oh, one game, sure. But if you don't come out of this 1 game even just a little bit impressed, then
you should be. If you're not, you're a hater.
Yeah, you just don't want to be impressed with the kid. Yeah. You got to give him his flowers in this game. Again, imperfect 14. And again, not exciting numbers. 14 to 25, 143 yards, 5.7 average, 2 touchdowns, 1 reception, added the rushing touchdown as well. But when they needed him to step up and have some big balls, throws, and some scrambles, he did. So I don't know, man. You got to give him props for the way he played in this game.
Yeah, there's not even a question. This is an A almost plus game, in my opinion, based on the whole situation. Besides, like, yeah, like straight up, if this is Patrick Mahomes out there, you're gonna give him an A+? Probably not, but you're still giving him probably a B for this game, especially with that last throw. For JJ McCarthy, third game of his career, like you said, came off of an injury, hasn't played in 5 weeks. Before that, he played 2 games ever in his career, missed all of last offseason. You know, all the stuff with his kid, all those kinds of things. I mean, you could say those are excuses, whatever. Lack of practices, all those kinds of things. So all of that to come in this game is third ever. 9.5 down, or 9.5 favorites to the Lions, by the way. I think we're like 10 straight games or something of losing those kinds of games when the spread is that significant. So obviously that's just adding to it. But yeah, he comes in here in Detroit against the Lions, who's arguably the best team some people say the best team in the NFL. So a lot of people say the best team in the NFC, all those kinds of things. And puts this team up for a win. And especially, I mean, starting with, you know, you can say all you want about the middle of the game and him missing throws and stuff. And you can say he had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, but it was in the first 2 drives. Yeah, but that was important because we needed a spark on this team. And there's nothing more gut punching than letting the Lions come out 4th down and throw a 40-yard touchdown pass to Sam Laporta for a touchdown there. And what does JJ McCarthy do? He responds right away, which really, I think that was that's like what changed the tide of this whole game, was responding to that very first touchdown. So that was almost just fucking as important as that final dagger at the end of the game.
Yeah. And I mean, big props too for Miles Price. We'll talk about him more later, but big props to him getting us in some good spots here.
But I want to add some more. So, cause yeah, I mean, we gotta talk about this for a second. So on top of that, obviously, and again, for anybody in here, so there's some people in there, who doubted on JJ McCarthy early. So I mean, it is early. It is one game, but I just want to say with Casey is that if you don't watch this game and feel like this kid has the stuff to turn into a very good quarterback at the very least. I mean, to come in and win this, the mentality stuff, that's there. The physical ability, everything you could possibly want from a quarterback is absolutely there. It just comes down to like the accuracy, and obviously he was missing on throwing on the run and things like that. That obviously a new quarterback who doesn't have a lot of NFL experience is not going to come in and make every single throw possible. And on top of that, I do want to mention that this game the Lions on top of that, because I think there's a few things I guess against JJ McCarthy is one. He was thrown too high, thrown behind some guys. On the run was not good. Obviously, he ended up with one interception that was behind Jalen Naylor. It was kind of a fluky interception, but it still was behind him. There was that. Obviously, the one thing that is kind of annoying me, and I'm hoping it's something that he does figure out and something that I'm going to be paying attention, and I'm going to probably bring up on Thursday's show, is kind of these little, like the botch snap. Obviously, we saw a couple of those in the Atlanta game, as well as like the running backs being in the wrong spot. We don't see that a lot. I feel like that was probably on JJ McCarthy. There's like 3 things there. So those little mental things I want to see change. So
and then, I mean, and he had a couple too, like where like we were kind of saying, like when he could have ran the ball, he threw it, and when he threw the ball, he ran it. You know, but he still uses athleticism, which was nice to see. We haven't seen that from a lot of our quarterbacks here. And then obviously we'll get into trades at the end. That's kind of our last thing we'll talk about. But
yeah, we'll get into that. Yep. Another thing. Let me think where I was going with that.
199er. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, dude. So there were some things like that definitely could be better. One thing I do want to mention, because there was one drive in particular that he was missing some throws. I think even there was like a couple drives there. One thing that I just saw today was that the Lions pressure rate was the second highest pressure rate of any team all season. And that's one thing. The offensive line started off really good, but that left side, and Aiden Hutchinson was in the backfield the entire game.
Yeah.
And so this all has been going on when JJ McCarthy was getting pressured pretty constant. I mean, literally the second highest pressure rate in the entire season of any game of any team in the NFL this year, and especially on that final drive going into the half. I mean, JJ McCarthy was just getting smoked after smoke, like 3 times in a row, just got hit. And that was something. So for him to do that and get out of there, and I was a little worried about that. I was like, oh, you don't want him to be taking all these shots and kind of getting a little uncomfortable. And I felt like that was the case a little bit going into second half. And then he kind of came out and looked good again or whatever. But there's going to be up and downs with this kid. You can't expect everything. But the biggest thing is just ultimately like coming in.
Yeah. I mean, he looked better under pressure than Goff did yesterday, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. This is his 3rd game ever. Like, you're not expecting it. Like, I think people want to bring up the standards to be like a normal quarterback, because there still is people out there after this game who is trying everything they can to like, oh, JJ McCarthy can't throw on the run, or he can't. Or although it's like, dude, are you kidding me? His 3rd game ever. He beat a Lions that team that nobody thought he could, ultimately with a dagger of a first down to kind of seal it.
Yeah, and then just seeing him in the locker room after too, like that mentality that he has is it's awesome. So yeah, I mean, overall, again, imperfect, sure, but at the end of the day, you got to come away impressed with the way that he played this game, and you got to feel pretty good about the future of the quarterback situation here. I mean, if he just keeps on developing, keeps on doing what he's doing, and just picks up little things as he goes along, I mean, we already, as we talk about all offseason, we already know the kid has the mentality, and we're seeing that time in and time out in these games. And I mean, even just pushing through the second half of that Falcons game with the ankle injury and doing the best he could to keep his team in it, like all those little things that you've seen here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that dagger in the end of the Chicago, I mean, that's 3 games, and he's already done those 2 things.
Yeah,
like that's big boy. Like, there's quarterbacks who've played their whole careers, and you might not see that kind of playing out of them, or that kind of throw out of them. So that's crazy to see from a young guy like that. 22 years old, inexperienced in the NFL, all those great things. So yeah, dude. No, I'm excited. We should be definitely happy about that, and continuing. Just seeing him develop and getting better. Like, this is this baseline. It's going to be a roller coaster, but overall, like, you only can see him kind of dialing in those throws and things like that.
Yeah. And this is it. Like, I mean, we're not saying this was you, Lone Wolf. We're saying last week there were so many people that were just like, it's just crazy how one game can just flip the mindset of a team, right? I mean, last week we had people being like, we're going to win one more game this year. Now it's like, now you're looking at it this way, like, 4 divisional games. You're already 2-0. You knocked out 2 road games in the division already. The Packers just lost yesterday to the Panthers at home, so that might not be as difficult as you're talking about. Then you got the NFC East, the 3 teams in there where Jaden Daniels is probably going to be out for the rest of the year after that pretty gruesome elbow injury yesterday. Then you got the Cowboys who are underperforming, and the Giants who are kind of in that same boat as well. Baltimore, Lamar's back next week. We'll talk about that on Thursday, but that defense ain't very good. Like, you can put up some points on that defense, and then you got Sam in Seattle. So, like, there's a lot of winnable games. Crazy.
Yeah, dude.
He was a little upset yesterday on Thursday or Monday last week, but he still brought some positivity, thinking we could get this done, and we sure did.
And he did. And Smokey did. I said that earlier before you got on. I said Smokey said that the Vikings need to beat this Lions team. I wasn't confident that they could, but fuck, man, they came out and did it. And it's going to be, Aaron Jones. We're going to get into, actually, we might as well get into.
Yeah, I mean, because JJ McCarthy played well, but it wasn't all him. There was a lot of reasons why the Vikings.
Yeah. And overall, though, like, I don't know. I give JJ McCarthy an A for his situation, for his level of experience and stuff. That's A+ from him winning that game. Like Casey's already said, it wasn't perfect. Like, he was missing throws. He had a couple quarters where he wasn't the most accurate or whatever. But what do you want from this young kid? And as Darren said, he's the only second quarterback, but other than Cam Newton to have 6 total touchdowns in his first 3 starts. So that's a pretty big deal. Anyways,
Smokey, we'll get into all the trade stuff at the end. That's our last topic. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. We gotta finish this game though. This was a big one, man. This was a big one.
It is.
So studs and duds, starting with our first. We'll go through the studs first, and I'll let Casey jump over here with Kevin O'Connell
Yeah, I mean, and not even him. I mean, do we have Flores on a separate one?
I do.
Okay, cool. But Kevin O'Connell, so look,
Coaching.
Kevin O'Connell, you and I have been, I guess, what you could call KOC Glazers throughout our time. Look, I mean, I know there was a lot of people upset with his play calling and have been all year long. A lot of people turning on him for leaving Wentz in the game or forcing Wentz to play. All this weird stuff. I mean, it was just, again, when you start losing games, that's what happens. But look, he admitted against the Chargers, he said, I did not have this team ready to play. And I know people hate the coach speak. They hate the I have to do better. I have to do this. You know, like, it's on me. People hate that type of stuff. But I mean, look, this game, as we talked about, he came into this game. He put JJ McCarthy in good spots. We ran the ball more times than we passed it. Fans will be happy about that. He took the training wheels off and just let McCarthy operate. So, look, I thought he came in. This team was fired up, ready to play, and physical. I mean, it sounded like throughout the week. I know him and Justin Jefferson talked about it, how, it wasn't a players-only meeting, but he did pull all the captains aside, talking to them throughout the week, and then had a full team meeting where the captains kind of took charge and, fired this team up and found that motivation. So, look, huge bounce back by Kevin O'Connell here. And the people that were ready to fire him too, like, come on. Like, the dude's a tremendous leader of men. We know he's still a good offensive mind. Very happy. Nice bounce back game from Kevin O'Connell in a place where he really, really, really needed to win.
Yeah, it's not a Vikings game if we don't get a touchdown called back. Freaking refs. Yeah, dude. And I'm gonna get into that eventually here, but definitely this game was definitely tough ref game. 100%. And hey, Smokey, obviously appreciate the 1999, bro. Always appreciate you, man. You always coming in here.
Okay. We're not talking penalties. We're talking overturned bullshit calls. We're not talking penalties.
Or non-calls. Yeah. Because I guess
we're not talking that. We're talking
one thing for sure, because I don't know if you saw about
bullshit.
Isaiah Rodgers posted the highlight catch of Jameson Williams or whatever, and it was 100%. It was at the time I didn't really look into it. I was like, whatever, he scored, but it was 100% a push off on that final Jameson Williams over Isaiah Rodgers play.
Yeah, for sure.
Young Smokey with another 1999. Appreciate you, brother. Remember we were doing mock drafts and I wanted Devondre Sweat over Falls. I kind of feel the same. Jamie Casey. Over who? Over. Who did we end up drafting that year? In the first round, you're saying?
Well, we didn't have a second or third.
Oh, no, we didn't.
We traded up.
Yeah. Even though we were huge Sweat guys too.
Turner.
We were huge.
Wait, Dallas, you want him over
Turner.
I mean, probably not in the first round. I mean, really the only
that would have been tough.
The only reason he wasn't a first round pick was because of his testing. I mean, the dude's a physical. I mean, he's huge.
Yeah,
would have been a great round. I would have loved him too. You can trade for him. We'll talk about that later. But yeah,
hitting on Kevin. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
Yeah. And again, and I'm seeing a lot of the comments. Yes, that you could probably talk about that last drive as well. I mean, the time management. I know you have a different opinion on that. The time management and play calling at the goal line near the end there.
So this is where I'm at with that, and this isn't really. So Kevin O'Connell. Well, first off, I'll hit that in a second. Kevin O'Connell. No matter how you spin it, he had this team ready with JJ McCarthy coming off of an injury. Just the way he handled JJ McCarthy in general, making sure he was 100%, even if everybody else thought it meant soft benching and da-da-da-da-da. Ultimately, it was the right decision, I think, and had JJ McCarthy in this team ready to go and win against in a game that, everybody had us losing. So that by itself is big for Kevin O'Connell. My thing at the red zone it is tough, man, because, and this is something that we tried to change, but it doesn't feel very changed to me, is you got Jordan Mason, you got new guys on the interior offensive line, and still it seems tough for us to get goal line, 2 yards at the goal line, 3 yards. Well, we were like 3 yards out at the goal line into score. And I know a lot of people are like, we should have just ran 3 times. I honestly think we run 3 times. I don't think we fucking get there against Detroit's defensive line, because I don't know. We've been struggling there again this year as far as getting down there. Because this is one thing everyone was saying last year. I'm like, I get it, but what do you do if you can never convert 3 yards?
Yeah, but the flip side of it though is if you run the ball, you chew clock, you force them to use their timeouts, and then you end up kicking the field goal anyway. I think that's the point. And I think I saw Big Raylan say it too. It's more like the management of the clock and the game is probably where people are a little bit concerned. But then again, then you look at Detroit, the drive after, and they kind of did the same thing. Like Dan Campbell pretty badly mismanaged the clock there.
Yeah, he did. That was crazy.
You have people talking about Matt LaFleur with I mean, it doesn't matter who the coach is. Like, there's going to be complaints, right? Yeah. Like Matt LaFleur with the Packers is getting a lot of heat for how he handled that game.
Obviously, because Jordan Love. Yikes.
It happens a lot.
Yikes, bro. That throw. If you see it's bad when you see the worst interception attempt I've ever seen in my lifetime, and everybody's just talking about the throw. That's how you know that was bad. So when it comes to Kevin O'Connell, though, in general, like I kind of disagree with some people. I get it, the game management. You do have to be smart and get rid of some of the time, especially against a team like Detroit. And I think we could have done better there with the running. But it's just like the final drive. Like me and Casey were talking about it, and a lot of people you could have ran 3 times and just got as much time as you wanted off the clock, and then you gave Detroit back with the ball. Against a team like Detroit, play fucking aggressive. That was one of my biggest things with Kevin O'Connell earlier on. I will never fault Kevin O'Connell, in my opinion, because he's playing too aggressive at the end against a team that can score on you in one play like they did with Jamison Williams. And I don't trust the Detroit Lions with a minute and a half with 3 points on the clock. So that's the one thing. Like, I felt like when you're in that red zone, I think you should have done whatever you have to do to try to score there. That's what I don't fault Kevin O'Connell for touchdown or bust. Yeah, touchdown or bust, and which means you might be risking timeouts. You might risk the clock because Detroit, I don't care if there's 30 seconds left. We've seen it time and time again. This is not the offense. This is one of the only offense in the NFL. You do not do that, especially against an aggressive play caller or not play caller, but head coach in Dan Campbell. Yeah,
well, and Kevin O'Connell kind of mentioned himself after the game. He said to him it was more about just trying to be aggressive and trusting players to go out there and make the plays. It just didn't work. We ended up getting a field goal, win the game anyway. If you lose, you're probably having a more in-depth discussion about that, but. At the end of the day, kind of is what it is. But Smokey with another 49.99. I remember.
Appreciate you, bro.
There was a game versus Panthers led by Cam Newton. I was there. The Vikings came back by 16, mid-2016 in Carolina. I need to come to Minnesota one time. U.S. Bank. I need.
Yeah, you're supposed to come to SKOL Fest, dude. You got to come to SKOL Fest next year.
Yeah, next year. SKOL Fest and the
game. SKOL Fest, bro. I'm telling you, y'all need to come to SKOL Fest.
$49.99. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. For real. Anyways, Kevin O'Connell, I don't know. I like against that team, play aggressive. I think you need to play aggressive to beat that team. So I'm not going to love would be massive. Yeah, I would love. This is who I was talking about earlier today. Yeah. But no, big.
At the end of the day, you still knew even if we don't, we're going to have some time on the clock. We have to play some defense. But even if we don't get a touchdown or whatever, we're still going to kick a field goal and go up 2 possessions. Like at the end of the day, it was still that, right?
Mm-hmm. It was still that.
Yeah. So it's not. I don't know. It is what it is, I
guess.
But
still, I mean, two touchdowns. Because if we didn't get that conversion, all they needed was a field goal to tie, Yeah. So that's they were in position. If we didn't convert that 3rd down, they could have went down and won or tied the game. If you would have had 2 touchdowns there, that obviously the best case scenario is for them to tie you, unless they went for 2, of course. But that was very unlikely to happen. Luckily, we have JJ McCarthy, and that dude just fucking cold-blooded. But keep on going here because we got a lot of players to go through. Because this was a big game, and that is Brian Flores came here to play. Hasn't beaten Detroit since he's been here. Has been getting just. I mean, if there's one, we always call it Ben Johnson, but he beat Ben Johnson this year. He beat the Lions this year. He took them both out. Comes here. Arguably the best running offense in the entire NFL. Some people will call it, definitely bottom 5 in running defense this year for the Vikings. He came in here, stopped the run big time, especially Gibbs. Gibbs couldn't do nothing all game and had this team ready. Also from a pass rush standpoint in the middle of the offensive line or middle of the line there. Casey, what is your thoughts on Brian Flores in this one?
I mean, you know me. I'm usually pretty critical of Flores and his defense, but again, I thought he came with a great plan today. I mean, yesterday, and he said it himself. At his press conference on Wednesday or Thursday, how he said, we're really taking a look this week at what we can do against the run because we have to get better. And again, you had the best running back duo in the league no doubt in anyone's mind, held them to 65 yards rushing. Now, sure, the pass defense was porous at times. There was some terrible missed tackling, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. But at the end of the day, it was a great game plan by Flores. Having Van Ginkel back helped a ton. Yeah, I mean, you got to give Flores his flowers for this one. I mean, at the end of the day, we came to play on defense as well, and we were making I mean, Jared Goff was having pressure in his face pretty much all day long, and ended up getting to him with 5 sacks. Yeah, I mean, just a great plan, and it wasn't even. And again, he showed us his job. He didn't blitz. He blitzed a little bit less than he normally does. So I don't know. I was very happy with it, and everyone came up fired up, ready to play. That defensive interior finally, their best game of the season, not a doubt in my mind.
In 2 seasons, easily in 2 seasons, in 3 seasons. I don't even know. It's one of the best interior games we've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, Grenard has been amazing with pressure. He finally got home. Yeah, but again, missed that tackle on Goff, which was frustrating. And then was it Murphy missed the tackle on St. Brown or whatever it was after that? But,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, Grenard. Yeah, I mean, the sack numbers aren't there yet, but the pressures are. So that was huge.
Smokey with another 1999. Appreciate you, bro. Keeping on going here. Obviously, you don't have to spend too much time. Whoa, wait, is it too early to be calling
JJ McClutchy, JJ McCarthy, whatever you want to call him? There's plenty of nicknames out there for him. We should vote on that. We should put a vote out on one of these shows. What is it?
He is definitely the winning. That's like the greatest thing ever about McCarthy so far, is just the fact that the winning clutch thing has. If there's one thing that's came true so far, it's that, and that's what we really needed, because we haven't seen. I don't think I've ever seen one of our quarterbacks have that kind of mentality. So hopefully that keeps up. But yeah, JJ McCarthy, obviously we talked about him a lot already. Big game for him, and hopefully we continue to see some of his balls placement a little bit better, man. I mean, if it gets any better, this kid's going to be a stud.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Speaking of more studs, we mentioned him earlier. Aaron Jones. What would he? 78 yards.
9 carries, 78 yards.
9 carries, 78 yards.
Added 2 catches for 20 yards. Did end up getting hurt, but it sounds like he'll be good to rock.
Yeah, this is like a win. Comes in, looks really good. Vintage Aaron Jones comes in. Then, of course, gets hurt, out for the rest of the game, but it sounds like everything's going to be okay because we're going to need him. And I do think his health is going to determine whether the Vikings get another running back at the trade deadline or not. But yeah, big game by Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw the spark in that running game, and Kevin O'Connell stuck to it when it was working. And again, goes back to Kevin O'Connell and his game and his play calling. I mean, 29 rushes yesterday, what Vikings fans have been calling for all year, especially when it's working, and it was working. So good to see that. And then we had the one nice run from Addison as well. But Aaron Jones, good game. He brought a spark, and that's really what we needed.
JJ McCarthy brought the spark. Aaron Jones brought the spark.
Speaking of which, there he is. He had the one rush, 16 yards, ran for a first down, added 2 catches for 48 yards from Addison. Jefferson, 6 catches, 47 yards. Then Hawkinson did have the receiving touchdown as well. Dropped that. Probably wouldn't have gotten a first down, but it would have made the punting a lot easier. But yeah, I mean, Jefferson, Addison showed up again. I mean, again, the numbers aren't spectacular, but they came up with huge catches when they needed to, especially Addison. That first kind of that completion that JJ had to him had some nice touch on the ball, which something we could talk about too. Just McCarthy interjecting quick is we did see, and I know Brady was talking about too, the 1 ball and the 2 ball with a little bit of that touch. We did see some touch passes yesterday.
Yeah.
And speaking of Aaron Jones, they did count that one screen as a rush, not a pass.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of wondering about that. But yeah.
Oh, they did? The one that was with a nice touch?
Yeah. Yeah, they called that a rush, I guess. It must have been a backwards pass. But
weird.
But either way, the receivers stepped up when they needed to. Addison had 2 big catches. Jefferson, the touchdown, everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then also, that was a big run by Jordan Addison there. Then, of course, just the Jalen Naylor catch, the dagger. Jalen Naylor is continuing to impress me. Someone that I was like, can't be our third wide receiver. It's not like he's putting up crazy stats or anything, but he's not. I forgot what people are giving him the nickname for dropping passes all the time. That has not been the case this year. He's like the Brandon Powell of this team. When he needs to catch the ball, he does when it's a good pass or whatever. Yeah. So he's been coming up big all year.
Yeah, the wide receiver 3 has to do a lot of different things. He does a lot of blocking. Like he does a lot of behind the scenes things you don't see. but he comes up with big catches when he needs to.
And that's what Jordan or Jalen Naylor's been doing, and it doesn't get much bigger than this catch here. So big plus. Like Casey said, like the stats weren't crazy from the wide receivers, but catching big catches when they need to and things like that, which is really big. Hey, what's up, Knowledge? Going into our next stud on the other side of the ball, and that is the defensive line. That is the LDR, which someone did bring it up. Like, I do think it is time that we can count LDR as a quasi draft hit, because he has impressed me honestly on this defense. There might, other than Eric Wilson, who's a veteran, there might not be another like surprise player to me other than LDR coming in and playing as much as he has and making some impacts, man. I mean, he comes in, gets a sack, also gets the block on that kick, on that field goal, has a really big game. Jalen Redmond has another sack. Hargrave comes in, has a really good game, ends up with the sack himself. And then, of course, as we've already talked about, allowing the Lions only 65 yards on the ground. The defense came to play. The pressure in the middle of the defense was massive. Everything me and Casey have been asking for the last like 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, like being able to stop the run's huge.
Yeah. I mean, again, and much respect to Flores for shoring that up. And respect to these guys. I mean, again, it's a lot of Allen and Hargrave were the two big names coming into the season, but Jalen Redmond and LDR were guys that we really wanted to see some stuff from. And so far this year, they've been awesome. And I mean, and also give LDR a ton of credit for the field goal block as well. So yeah, I mean, they were not the best game that we've seen by a defensive interior in years here. They were disruptive. They were good against the run. Just amazing.
Yeah, dude. Big there. Another few guys on this defense that were also amazing and made big impact in the middle of this defense and all over the field.
Yeah. I mean, Van Ginkel, we've been talking about it. I mean, his impact is unmatched. I mean, Dallas Turner was relegated to only 14 defensive snaps because of Van Ginkel coming back and playing as well as he did. Which is huge. And then Cashman and Wilson, man. I mean, Cashman, 14 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Amazing in the run game. And then Eric Wilson, I mean, look, again, Ivan Pace was a fun UDFA story, but at this point, I mean, Eric Wilson has been just fantastic. I mean, 6 total tackles for him, 4 solo, 2 sacks and 3 tackles for loss. I mean, it's huge. And look, Eric Wilson was kind of that guy when he was here the first time around too. And he's just, multiple different stops for here. He's great on special teams, but I mean, he's a starter on this defense and he's an absolute superstar right now.
Yeah,
he's playing
really, honestly.
So this linebacker duo, man, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's a time during this season where we're like, well, that's pretty much fucked. Like Cashman gets down, Ivan Pace regresses, and then you have Eric Wilson, which obviously we're like, I mean, he's not really a journeyman, I wouldn't say, but he's a veteran. You know what he is. Well, I guess we didn't know who he is because he's came back better than ever. And it's so impressive. And I think you already mentioned the 2 sacks, but I think he's had 1 bad game all year. Otherwise, he's honestly, I actually 100% will say he's been the most consistent defender we've had this entire season. Obviously Van Ginkel's been injured, and I mean, Grenard's up there, but he just isn't getting home, and he's supposed to be sack specialist, whatever. Eric Wilson definitely stepping up there. Cashman, he also had a 90 PFF grade, led the team in the PFF grade, 14 tackles, like you said, it's insane. And Gink, man, when he's on the field, I just feel like he just fucks with teams' heads. Like, I think he's on the field and you have to know where he is at all times because he's going to line up. He plays good coverage. He's going to line up on the edge. He can move back in coverage. He might sneak up and jump a route. I think the first pressure of the game was him coming off the edge. And you're just like, there's Andrew Van Ginkel, man. He's the Harrison Smith. He's like the new Harrison Smith of like, just this guy that's on the team that you just love when he's out there, and he's just always going to make an impact. And obviously just a quiet demeanor off the field and things like that. But big stuff over there.
Yeah, absolutely. What do we got next?
Next, we got Thrill, who obviously just can be on here every single week. Made every kick he needed to do as normal. But the big one is we've finally, and we've mentioned it before, and I felt confident even before the season started after watching him in preseason. Miles Price, man, he's just showing stuff in the cool thing, kick return and punt return game that we haven't seen in a very long time. Obviously got the special teams penalties aren't helping them a ton and getting a lot of calls backs, but round one back that got taken away and then had like another 50-yard return or whatever it was. And we've seen multiple returns from him this year.
Yeah, and he was, and like, okay, Will throw, I mean, just consistent as always. I mean, that's what really all I got to say about him. Yeah, with Price, like, he was the jump starter for I mean, McCarthy's going to get all the credit for it, but he was the jump starter for this game. I mean, you let the Lions march down the field, then he has that big 61-yard return that sets you up in great field position. You end up scoring a touchdown on that drive. Like, Price was the spark. I will say Price was like the spark plug for this game. And yeah, like you said, a couple huge returns as well. I called it. This year's going to happen. This year will be the year Miles Price breaks that streak of not having a punt return touchdown since Marcus Stroud. I have a great feeling about that. And even better for him, his Indiana Hoosiers are the number 2 team in the country. So congratulations, Miles Price. Life's great.
Kind of crazy.
I know it's wild. Some people say it's fake number 2 because they haven't really played a ton of teams yet. But
yeah,
hey, winning's winning. But yeah,
all right. Down.
But special. I mean, do we have special teams penalties on here somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get it. Okay, we'll wait for that then.
We're on our duds right now. There's not a ton of duds. We're almost done here.
Right.
And then we can talk about the trade deadline. Big plays and missed tackles. Obviously, you have Isaiah Rodgers here. He did miss a massive play, though. Going back, it was a push off. I don't care. It was a push off, and they probably should have had a penalty on that one. And I honestly, after looking at that, I don't put that on Isaiah Rodgers whatsoever. Though I do want to say Isaiah Rodgers did get the blocked field goal, took it almost back to the house, but arguably the fastest guy in the league, and let a kicker, punter, whatever catch up to him. But then he did miss another big tackle on third down, I think, against
St. Brown or Jameson Williams, because one missed someone. I think Byron Murphy missed the St. Brown, and then he missed the Jameson Williams tackle is what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's been kind of an issue this year, just some missed tackles. I mean, it's been big not having Pace in there because for some reason Pace just forgot how to tackle. And I guess looking at some other parts of the defense, I mean, and maybe it's because he has to play more safety than what he was doing before. But at this point, from everything I've seen, the Metellus contract is not looking great right now. And I do think a big part of that is he's being asked to be more of a traditional safety instead of just being that, all around type of player. But that contract isn't looking great at this point. But yeah, too many big plays. I mean, if it wasn't for Cashman forcing that fumble, we would have allowed a big play to first down near their goal line to Montgomery, which would have been a major buzzkill at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's just the tackling does need to get cleaned up. Luckily, we're able to make enough of them and make enough plays on defense to help us win this game. But yeah, not perfect from the defensive perspective at all.
Yeah, and yeah, just get that. I mean, hey, that's the thing is, like, as good as this defense has looked, we have not been consistent in general. So hopefully this defense can just keep this up. Obviously earlier in the season, we weren't allowing a lot of points, but now we're allowing big plays again, even in this one, even when the defense played well and still missed tackles. And that's just big plays and missed tackles. That's just what the Vikings defense needs to continue to shore up, especially for us to remain competitive. Another thing is special teams. Tavarius Thomas has the big callback on the Miles Price kick return touchdown, and then the very next special teams on punt return gets pushed out of bounds, doesn't come back in, gets back-to-back special teams.
That was weird. Like, what did he think he was running the 40 at the combine or something?
I'm thinking he must have just I'm thinking he just probably just knew the ball was coming out of bounds. Because the ball was like it went out of bounds. So maybe he's just like looking at the ball and it's like, oh, it's going out of bounds. So it's like out of play, basically. Yeah. Maybe I'm making an excuse for him. I don't know what happened there. But that's what sucks about that penalty is it wasn't even going in bounds. It was out of bounds anyway. So it was like literally completely pointless penalty there.
I mean, and special teams penalties have been an issue all year long, honestly. And then if you want to add another thing to the special teams downs or duds, Ryan Wright hasn't been super consistent this year either. I mean, look, if it wasn't for the fact that Oscar Chapman botched a hold for Will Riker in the preseason, I don't think Ryan Wright would even be our punter.
I think we have to figure something else out.
Yeah, but I think they just like him for the holding or for the kick holding.
Yeah,
so it is.
Which so far you can definitely say he's arguably the best in the league at that. It's like Christian Ponder being the best handoffer of all time.
Right. And then finally, the refs, again, not the penalties. It's just it's the I mean, this team, we've gotten fucked so many times on drops and all that type of stuff. I mean, obviously there was the Isaiah Rodgers one, Justin Jefferson's. I mean, it feels
That's
like it's different
crazy.
every game. And then what was the other one? Oh, the Jalen Naylor, like I saw Nick say earlier. Usually you call it. I've never seen that one given to the defender.
Yeah.
Ever.
Last year we had a big one
I don't
like
know.
that. We were on the opposite side of that one. Well, I forgot exactly the situation in the game, but I remember it was a big thing where we were on the opposite side where they ended up giving it to the receiver or whatever. And this one is weird that they just gave it to Arnold right away, and they come back and look at it when it's like Jalen Naylor has I don't even get it. Like, yeah, I get it, like control, but I mean the ball's on his leg. He has it in his hand the entire time. I don't get how you give that to the defender. But that's not even the big one. The Justin Jefferson one really makes no sense. And this is, I mean, it went from TJ Hawkinson to Isaiah, and each one is getting worse and worse. TJ Hawkinson, I was like, no, I did see the ball. A lot of people disagree. I did see the ball kind of hit the ground and he kind of lose control of it. I got that one. The Isaiah Rodgers one, I thought was 100% an interception. The ball did hit the ground, but it didn't move. And then this Justin Jefferson one's even worse. It touched the ground, didn't move, whatever, and it was called a challenge that got reversed, which is crazy to me. Like, it was called a catch, and they reversed it after seeing what they saw.
Look, I mean, I understand the Jalen Naylor one, since they called that an interception right away. I do understand them staying with that call.
That's what they
I just don't know how you can do
do.
simultaneous with both guys up with the ball and end up calling. And there was one ref who was running in with his hand up to say dead play. And then they discussed it and turned to the other team. And then the announcer was like, that looked like an interception. And then it's just, I don't know.
The Justin Jefferson, even the announcers, nobody was really on the side of Justin Jefferson getting that overturned. And that was a big play.
Yeah.
So that was tough. I don't know. I like that. Didn't like that. And then obviously just a push off against Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, this is the biggest point of the game, man. We have them they're in midfield. They just had terrible clock management, 2-minute warning for no reason. I don't even get what they were doing. And then all of a sudden they get this big play that was obviously 100% push off, textbook push off. No way around it. I don't care what you say. I didn't even want to go and look at it and be like, whatever, you let these guys play their game. But after looking at it, I'm like, no, that's blatantly a push off on a big play. So the refs fucked us again. No? Yeah. Even though we ended up winning anyways, even against the refs. That's what JJ McCarthy does. It don't matter. Everything can be against them, including the refs. Still comes out, wins the game. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Studs and duds. Overall, you do win. A lot more studs than duds in this one. Trade, deadline, Casey, buyers, sellers. What should the Vikings do?
I mean, it's definitely changed because last week everyone was saying sell, sell, sell. This team's going nowhere, which we were never on the side of sell because I think you'll get into that with your point here. How this feels again, this year's not all in. Like it's a 2 to 3 year window with JJ McCarthy, and a lot of people do view that as starting next year after he gets that experience. Which I know that's going to kind of lean into your opinion on what to do. I want to do with the trade deadline here, but I feel like this has definitely turned into more of a stand pat. Or almost like a mini buy. Like, I don't think you're going to go all in for a big time player here, but I feel like it's either a stand pat with what you have and just see how it goes and adjust in free agency in the draft next year, or you're going to go for a younger guy either on an expiring contract you can extend, or maybe a depth piece that you're not going to have to spend that much money or that much draft capital on. And then I guess if you are going to be a seller, it's more likely going to be a depth piece that you think you can get a late round pick for that you don't need. Maybe someone offers you something for Ivan Pace that you can trade away. Turning a UDFA into a 6th round pick, I think that's a win, especially with how Eric Wilson is playing. Or if you're like, if someone offers you something you can't refuse for a Hawkinson or someone on an expiring contract like that. But look, the fact you won this game 4-4, 1 win out of first place, or 1 win in the win column out of first place in this division, a loss and a half back, I believe, since the Packers have a tie. Like, this team is definitely right back in the thick of things in the playoff race. So selling is out the door. But yeah, well, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Kwesi decides to do this. If he values his draft picks that apparently he can't use and make effective to the point where he's like, hey, I mean, I think we have enough here that I trust the coaching staff to at least keep us competitive with this roster, or that they're gonna be able to go out and get someone. I know, like Reek Woolen has been a name coming out there that the Seahawks are going to move on from because he's inconsistent and on an expiring deal. So there's a lot of different ways you can look at the trade deadline, and it'll be interesting to see how Kwesi views it going into tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's anything it'd be buyers at this point. But yeah, my point of view is this isn't the all-in year. This isn't the year that you go and make that trade because you want to put it over the edge. Especially, I mean, you're 4-4. This is a year of JJ McCarthy development, a number one overall thing that needs to happen this year. It's been that. It's always been that. And I've always believed it has always been that, and I still believe that. And that doesn't mean we can't win, but it doesn't make me feel like this is his first year, 3 starts. This is the year that you go all in and you go get yourself a guy that might not be here for more than a year. That scares me. I don't think you do that. Next year, I think I've always been saying it. I can say it a million times. I say it every single show. It's all about next year and the year after. It's always been those years. I don't give a fuck what you do. You don't get a lot of windows to win a Super Bowl. And if you feel like JJ McCarthy can do that, I don't care if you have to kick the financial burden down the road or whatever you got to do. I think the next few years you go make those moves that you need to do to go try your best to win a Super Bowl in those 2 years. That is not this year. I don't think you do that this year. I don't think you sacrifice next year for this year. That's what I'm worried about. I don't think you give away tons of picks to go grab guys this year, even if you do think we do need a cornerback at this point. But if you do go make a trade this year, you do, in my opinion, and this is even with Tyreek Woolen, whose contract's up at the end of this year, I believe. Casey's the one that told me that. I never actually looked into it. But if his contract is up at the end of the year,
throwing the bus there.
I'm assuming that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think this.
Yeah, I believe what you said. I just never rechecked it myself, so I don't want to throw wrong information out there. Right. But Tyreek will. So that's the thing. Like, even he has end of his contract. So yeah, if you get him and you extend him or whatever, if he does well enough. But if you go and trade a 2nd-round pick or something, I don't know what he wants at this point, but I know he had a really good first couple of seasons. But if you go and trade some picks, some draft picks for a guy that might leave this next year, it's pointless to me because this isn't about a Super Bowl. I'm not trying to build a team that can go in the playoffs and win one game. You need to build a team that can go in the Super Bowl. And I don't know if there's any trades out there that make sense to do that right now, unless you go get a guy that is going to be part of your window, and you can go get a cornerback that's going to be here for the next 3 years and not just this year, or from any position. Because if there's any positions that need to be talked about, the ones that everyone's talking about is quarterback, obviously, a veteran guy, which it does make sense there. I don't absolutely think that we need it. If JJ McCarthy goes down, I'm not going to lie, I'd like to see Brosmer go in, but I understand having a veteran presence in that locker room. So I wouldn't be surprised if you do that there. I don't think it's a must. Running back, in my opinion, when it comes to Aaron Jones, and you just traded for Jordan Mason. If Aaron Jones is healthy, I'm sorry. I know people want Breece Hall for a third and people want A-Chain. I just do not see that happening. I do not think you bring another guy into this locker room with Aaron Jones and Mason on this team unless Aaron Jones was hurt. Even though it could make a big impact on this, I just don't see it happening, in my opinion. And then you have the center position. Blake Brandel played good yesterday. Ryan Kelly could be back. I don't want to put more money in trade for this year over there. Defensive interior, another one. I didn't see a lot of players that made sense for this team this year, but Tavondre Sweat is being thrown around. He's on his rookie contract. That's something I like, someone that you could bring in, a big body. I really like that. Cornerback, to me, if there was the biggest position for the Vikings to go do and make a move, it is cornerback. I would like them to do that even this year, but I want you to go get a guy that you think can be here longer term than just this year. This is about the next 3 years. And then safety as well. And Minka Fitzpatrick's been brought up and things like that. But overall, in my opinion, long-winded, I know, is the Vikings need to focus on winning the next 2 years. This is about this year's JJ McCarthy development. Next 2 years, Super Bowl. Do everything you need to do to make Super Bowl those next 2 years, in my opinion. So don't sacrifice too many draft picks to go get some guys to help you win a couple extra games this year. All right, sorry. What's your thoughts on all that? I know you
covered all the positions in the name.
On the positions, but I did want to hear what your opinion on those positions are. Starting with quarterback.
Yeah, quarterback. Look, I mean, Kevin O'Connell today, I know you say it all the time to make yourself not sound too desperate. He says he's confident with the room they have. He wants to get Wolford on the 53 eventually here. So quarterback, I'm not really, because that's the thing. If you bring in a Jameis Winston or even a Russell Wilson, right? All that does to me, I get it's a locker room presence, but all it does to me that if McCarthy starts to struggle, then the fan base is going to be an uproar like, oh, put Jameis in. He's going to bring more of a spark. Oh, do this. We don't need any of that type of distraction, right? I mean, this is JJ McCarthy's team. So I don't really care about that. The ones that are interesting to me, corner, if you can get a young corner, yes, maybe on an expiring contract that you might have to extend. I get the risk there. But if you can find yourself into a solid cornerback, I'd be cool with that. I wouldn't hate Minkah Fitzpatrick if you could do that. Running back is the one to me, though, that I am intrigued by. Yes, I know there's some guys in the draft coming up. I mean, getting Love out of Notre Dame will be.
He's going to go early, though, I think.
He is, yeah. But, like, I mean, if you could, and maybe not a second, but if you could pry like Achane away from the Dolphins for a third, he's on his rookie deal. He's young. Aaron Jones, yes, he looked really good yesterday when he was healthy, but he is getting older. The contract, you can cut him next year. It's pretty palatable, not too much dead money. So the one to me that I think would be the most intriguing is probably running back, just because getting a guy like Achane on this team, or even Breece Hall you'd have to extend, obviously, but getting a guy like Achane and just knowing you'd have him for the next 2 years, like, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be pretty sick. I mean, again, that doesn't just help you this year. It helps you going forward for your next 2 years and then your Super Bowl window that you're talking about. I don't know. That one to me, but second round pick, probably not. But that one to me is the most intriguing option to think about, I think. Because cornerback wise, like, we've seen Murphy have good games. We've seen Isaiah Rodgers play well. I mean, I'm kind of shocked we haven't seen it. Like, McLaughlin hasn't gotten any time at all. Like, that's kind of weird to me. I'd like to see him get out there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I don't know. To me, cornerback would be cool if we could find a way into a good one.
We need a cornerback bona fide.
Well, yeah, star. Or maybe even just bring in Asante Samuel Jr. because he's still out there. I know I think it was a neck injury or something he was kind of recovering from. But that was a name that's out there. But I don't know. To me, the most exciting one would be running back. I think that'd be a lot of fun if you could find a way to get one of those two guys.
And obviously, I kind of
depending on what the cost is.
Kind of disagree with it, only just because it doesn't. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I definitely think we could use a better running back, but I just don't see how it's going to happen with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, unless because Aaron Jones looked good. He came back and he took most of the reps when he is healthy. Obviously, you are worried about his health on top of that. My question is, and I'm sorry, Nick, but there's one thing that needs to be talked about that hasn't been talked about, and that is the effectiveness of Jordan Mason so far, which hasn't been as we all hoped, and that's just being real right now.
Yeah.
And like, he just doesn't have the speed. And I'm not saying he's a bad running back or whatever, but I would be lying to be like, oh yeah, Jordan Mason is exactly what we all expected. Say that to yourself right now, and then tell me that you feel true about that. No, you don't.
But
that's the question.
But the next 2 years, would you rather have Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, or Achane / Breece Hall and Jordan Mason?
Well, but my question is if you bring in Achane or Breece Hall, let's say you no matter what, you have Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason on your team, unless you trade one of them
for this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you bring in one of those running backs, who's losing snaps at this point?
No, I mean, they all would.
No. You can't. There's only two.
It's going to keep Aaron Jones more fresh.
There's two running backs right now. If there's three in here, someone's losing a significant amount of snaps. Who do you think that's going to be?
Like you said, it's not about this year. It's about the next 2 years.
Well, yeah, I know, but if you bring in Achane, obviously,
why not? It's going to be. If you can get him for a reasonable price. Why not?
I'm not. Well, if you can get him for a reasonable, I'm not saying. I'm not talking about not doing that. Even though I don't think the Vikings will. I'm saying is if that happens, I do think that says more about Jordan Mason not living up to the trade than anything. And I do think if that does happen, Jordan Mason goes to running back 3, and you're not seeing ton of playing time for him. And it's going to be Aaron Jones and whoever else comes in.
I don't know. It'd be interesting, though. It'd be interesting to see how that would happen. But yeah, like you said, I don't think it's going to happen. That's why I think it's the most intriguing one to talk about. Because I just think if we're going to be, because I do think that Kwesi wants to go into a draft with a ton of picks and see if he can turn it around. So I really don't think that they're going to be too risky. It would be just like Lone Wolf set up here, like a buy low type thing, like someone who's willing to cut bait with someone who's on an expiring contract for like cheap.
Right. Or I don't think it's crazy for them to. I don't think it's crazy if they decided to make a big deal though for like a bona fide cornerback or something, like someone that's
Sauce
going
Gardner,
to be
rumored.
here.
Go get Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I don't know if he's available, but if he's available, I wouldn't. I would not. That's not crazy to me, because if you go get a trade for a guy that's going to be here for the next 3 years for sure or whatever, I do think the Vikings could pull the trigger on someone like that, and I'd be cool with it, because then it helps you this year and it helps you in this. I'm cool with it if it helps you this year and the next years. I'm just not cool with it throwing some big things just for this year.
Another name that has came up has been Trevon Diggs, but I'm not really.
It's like Byron Murphy 2.0.
I mean, after this year, he's got no more guaranteed money, $18 million cap hit next year, 23 the year after that. Like, I'm out on that.
Yeah, I want a guy that can. I don't care about interceptions, honestly.
Yeah. And they'll probably just cut him anyway, because they saved $12 million in cap if they just cut him.
Obviously I care about interceptions, but my cornerback, I want you to be able to cover. That's it. So I don't know. It'd be cool if the Vikings went out and got them. And that's the one position for me. If you were able to get a bona fide number one cornerback, I think that would be massive for this team, honestly. And if you were able to get a fucking stud at safety of some sort, too, because I think our safety group is rough, dude. Theo Jackson has not come close to living. Literally most of the time you don't even remember he's on the team anymore. And then, like you said, like, you're not going to get this. Harrison Smith's aging, and Metellus is not going to be that guy. I mean, you need to go get a safety just so Metellus can be more of that Swiss Army knife type of player, honestly. So I think the secondary, man, I think that's what you could make a big move on. But that big move is not to win this year. It's to be more competitive this year, but mostly to win in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
The running back thing would be crazy. At this point, it does feel like there's still room for a running back on this team for sure, especially going into the next season, because no one's really. Aaron Jones looked really good last game. Mason has had his games, but we're not getting that level. Like in Achane would be obviously insane addition to this team based on.
And who knows, maybe that's something, like, if he sticks with the Dolphins this year, then they move on from and they kind of reset that roster. Maybe it's something you revisit in the offseason after you make.
I don't think the Dolphins will do that. It's like their best player.
Yeah, but they're at a point now where they're probably going to completely blow that thing. I mean, the GM's gone, the coach will be gone at the end of the year. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. But a new coach coming in might actually want to go there.
What up, the Lions rules, Bears drool, Packers are lactose intolerant, Vikings get lucky from time to time. Lions rule. Oh, you're a Lions fan. Oh, Motown, duh.
Yeah, it's all right.
They didn't rule didn't rule yesterday. That's for damn sure.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
With the nursery rhyme that I heard back in, like, when I was 4.
Mason is our big back. He'll be our RB2 for a while. That's the thing, though. Is like dude, like, he's our bigger back, but I ain't gonna lie. Like, what have we been doing on the red? Like, we're not. Maybe that's not. It could be on the offensive line too, and things like that. But so far, I haven't been extremely impressed by Mason, and he hasn't stepped up. He hasn't been that bully running back that we all needed and hoped he'd be. He hasn't. Like, he has a couple red zone touchdowns, but there's not a ton there. Like yesterday, he got, like, I honestly think, I think what you saw with Kevin O'Connell at that goal line, we're 3 yards out, we ran the first time. The fact that we didn't run those other times, maybe it's not all on Jordan. It makes me feel like he isn't, and I don't blame him, confident in our ability to get that a red zone touch or a goal line touchdown.
I don't know. Maybe it's possible.
I think definitely. Like, why?
If
you have Derrick Henry in there, you're running off.
I think he likes being aggressive. I mean, because he's shown he doesn't want to run the ball mid game. So I don't know. I mean, it could very well be.
It could be. It could be.
Doesn't use him that way. I mean, yeah. I guess that's where it would have been nice to see a scenario. Maybe he tries it a couple more times yesterday at the red zone, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We won the game, and all these trade deadline questions, they're gonna be answered soon, because obviously trade deadline is tomorrow, and there really isn't any, like, usually you'd hear some sort of rumors by now. Like, really the only rumors that we've heard is that we're potentially looking at backup quarterback, but I don't know. At the end of the day, kind of is what it is. But you got anything else on any of this?
No, man. Obviously, trade deadline, regardless, is always kind of exciting to see what happens. And it's the same for this one. So,
Yep.
hey, what's going on, Skolaholic? We need to become run first offense.
I mean, and
I don't. It's not even. I don't know about
but
that.
yesterday was definitely a step towards maybe making it a little bit more even, and I agree with that. Make it make it a little more balanced. And
Run first. I don't know about that. You got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. You
and a
got those
quarterback
are the
that has
most
shown he can
talented
make,
people on your team. You
and a
have to
quarterback
have
that has shown he can make some big throws when he has to. But
yeah.
but
I
either
think
way,
I'm still
yeah, but
pass first, but run definitely.
yeah. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Obviously, Vikings 4-4, big win. We'll be back on Thursday to talk about the Ravens game, which will be a fun one. Lamar Jackson comes to town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see that game. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Let's go Vikes.